Gwen Webber-McLeod is president and CEO of Gwen Inc. She has over 30 years experience in leadership, organization development, facilitation, strategic planning, development of effective coalitions, collaborations, helping companies develop strategies for taking diversity and inclusion initiatives to the next level, and the strategic development of women and minority leaders breaking glass cement ceilings in companies. Gwen is a frequently sought-after lecturer and conference keynote speaker on the topic of leadership. Her clients are CEOs, executive and mid-level managers, and leadership teams in public, private, healthcare, and education businesses and organizations. Gwen Inc. exists for the sole purpose of helping leaders achieve business goals by focusing on the competencies of confidence, competence, courage, and calm. In 2009, Gwen founded the You Can't Fail Because Your History Says You Can't conference as an unforgettable, one-of-a-kind conference designed to provide a strategically designed multicultural leadership development experience for professional women of color and women leaders of other races and cultures who support them. I give you Gwen Webber-McLeod.
How are you doing? Well, I woke up this morning and I was thinking to myself, it is so cold outside, but I happen to live in Auburn, New York, and I kind of felt Harriet Tubman tapping me on the shoulder saying, get up and get going. So this is for Harriet. It is no accident that I'm here with you today. I want to let you know that I am a member of a historic African American sorority called Delta Sigma Theta sorority.
Delta!
And my sorority sisters' first official act as 17 and 18-year-old girls off the campus of Howard University was to take themselves down to D.C. and just basically insert themselves into the Women's Suffrage March of 1913. So I stand here in honor of them as well. So I want to tell you a story. I am one of 4 girls raised all over the world as part of a career military family. We became known as this little girl gang called the Webber Girls. Our parents were raised in the Jim Crow South, and they faced everything that came along with being born in that era. They attended a historically black college, North Carolina A&T, where students from their campus held sit-ins as part of the early civil rights movement. This experience impacted their parenting philosophy. When they had children, they decided to raise them to be uber confident, educated, and with an understanding of how money works. The word sexism was not part of our family vocabulary. The instilling of these ideas, however, in 4 little black girls from the 50s was part of the black parenting tradition. We were raised to combat racism. We were raised to believe it was our birthright to pursue any career we desired. We were raised to believe we were equal to any boy in our family. We were raised to believe that we were intellectual matches for anyone in any room at any time. We were raised to understand that money talks and bullshit walks. We were raised to understand that whenever possible, we should work and collaborate with people of diverse backgrounds. And when we were on common ground, great things could always happen. There was never a day when the Webber girls were not absolutely convinced we could be anything we believed we could be. But you see, my parents were on a mission to raise 4 confident black girls with the philosophy, skills, and behaviors to fight racism. We were their small little team of freedom fighters, but it was not their early intent to raise 4 feminists. In some ways, the Webber girls were accidental feminists, but they instilled in us the core values of what became known as a feminist woman. And as the women's movement manifested in the Black community, our parents, especially our mother, became more intentional in helping us understand our power as Black women as we developed into womanhood. Then something happened that changed my life forever. In 1976, on the campus of SUNY Potsdam, I was among 8 women who registered for a class titled The History of American Women. We were the first group to take this course, and we were among the first generation of women to receive credit for such study. I just frankly wanted to acquire some credit so I could graduate. But in my spirit, I sensed this course was going to mean more than just credits to me, and this inclination became clear pretty quickly. I found myself moving from an accidental feminist to an intentional feminist. Reading daily about the lives of American women and our many contributions to the development of our country was both inspiring and infuriating. And my family, we would say I was pissed off to the highest levels of passivity. I was angry that as a 20-year-old woman, I was just realizing all that women had done in America. And I started to wonder, where are the Black women? What were we doing in the 1800s and the 1900s? What were we doing? And I knew my historical sisters were so much more than survivors of slavery. Then another experience affected my thinking and solidified my feminism. You see, I was one of a very small number of Black women on the campus at that time, and I was isolated in many ways. And then my professor, Dr. Judith Granlett, found books for me to read, enabling me to see what feminism looked like in my own cultural context. We were required to speak publicly on difficult topics affecting women, like rape, abortion, domestic violence. It was terrifying, and as an act of rebellion, we challenged Dr. Granlett. With tears running down our faces, we asked her, why are you making us stand up in this classroom every week and talk? And she shared a story. She explained to us that she had been a 4.0 student throughout her academic career and never said one word in class. She vowed when she became a teacher, she would never allow smart women to sit in silence and would help us find our voices and use them for good. You see, she too was an accidental feminist whose teaching experiment helped her become an intentional feminist. So now you might be thinking, you know, Gwen, this is really a great story, but what in the entire hell does it have to do with me? Well, sisters, I happen to have an answer for you. Neither my parents nor Dr. Granlett started out thinking that they would have to intentionally teach girls to become women who took a stand. The events happening in our country forced them to do so, to create a quality of life that ensured girls and women could have access to all that is needed to simply live. Fast forward to 2017, and I am in Washington, D.C. in the midst of 1 million people. Time and again, I bumped into women who said this to me: I have never done anything like this in my life. However, just like me in that class, they had this feeling in their spirits that this time was different than any other. They had to take a stand and were caught up in the powerful events of a new election. These women were accidental feminists who on that powerful day decided to act on behalf of girls and women. Now, many of us choose never to claim the title feminist. The word is loaded for some. It's now being given a negative connotation as a way to prevent women from standing for themselves and others. And I am regularly challenged about why I, as a Black woman, claim to be a feminist as a word to describe me. Here is the bottom line. These are the times trying the souls of girls and women. I don't care about titles or names. I want to work with like-minded women and MWGUs, men who get us. There's a few of you out there, clap for those men who get us. Thank you guys. To stand for a country that consistently recognizes women's rights. We need to live in a country committed to ensuring girls and women have full access to everything, allowing us to live our wildest dreams, point blank, period. Now, I doubt Elizabeth Cady Stanton or Harriet Tubman were at home sweeping, contemplating whether or not to claim the term feminism as white or black women. They just knew something was not right. They had that gut feeling that we all have that called them to action on behalf of girls and women. Sisters like them, we are here in the middle of this baby blizzard right now because we know something isn't right, and our gut called us here today to act on behalf of girls and women. Thank you. For some of us, becoming a feminist truly was accidental. However, it is no accident that we're standing here in Seneca Falls today. We are gathered here in and on purpose with the intention of doing what we can, when we can, to ensure the powerful circle of women helping girls who become women who then help other girls change the world. This work continues as it historically has since the women of Seneca Falls. Native nations, free slave women, immigrant women, LGBT women, differently abled women have come together for hundreds of years, and may this circle be unbroken. My mother has always said, one Webber-McLeod, girl, it's not what you're called, it's what you answer to. And there are things, sisters and MWGUs, we need to answer to right now with strategic intent. We believe in the depths of our souls that girls and women deserve to live in a world that honors and respects their contributions and full birthright to do anything and be anything we want. We need to challenge those who dare think it's okay to enact laws that cause harm to the lives of girls and women. We need to challenge those who dare wield hate, homophobia, xenophobia, racism, sexism as weapons of mass destruction because they know dividing us prevents us from organizing the critical mass of smart, talented, bold women who will change things. We need to challenge those who dare prevent women from having control over their own bodies, support an economic system that keeps disproportionate numbers of women and children in poverty. We need to challenge those who dare block us from being every single thing we've been called to be by challenging our intellect, mansplaining, filling rooms with so much microaggression and unconscious bias, with hostile work environments, all in an attempt to shut us down. But we won't be shut down. In doing so, we, the many, who stand here as intentional feminists or accidental feminists, or simply a family member to create the future I know our historical senators wanted us to have. The future is female. Say that.
The future is female.
The future is a partnership with men who get us.
The future is a partnership with men who get us.
And the future is true equality.
And the future is true equality.
As I wrote these remarks, I envisioned Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Harriet Tubman somewhere sitting over a cup of tea saying to each other, girl, can you believe they are still down there dealing with this mess? And they're saying to each other, we knew there was more to do, but we can just sit here chillaxing, sending them good energy, and tell them, you've got this because we raised you well. So they're telling us to press on, press on. So I say yes, we will press on and on and on and on. And I want to live and work with those like ourselves who stand for what is good and right for America. We will press on, press on, press on. Thank you so much.